got 6 of them. Okay. We have extras in it.
I'll take one.
Okay.
You got one.
I'll take one of these back so I can go through it. So this book right here, let's see, is there a regular manual? You know where the regular manual is with the book that we got?
Probably here.
Okay. So everything that I put together in this book here actually came out of this. It just whittles it down to just the bare bones basics for you without having to dig through this. Because this is designed for a lot of different ones. In the book, you see on the front cover, we have this unit as a 20 kVA unit. One of the things that you guys need to know is that in the future, it is capable of being upgraded to 30 kVA if you ever found you needed to do that. Inside the unit down here is where your batteries are at. You've got at full load, 18 kW, you've got an 18-minute runtime on it. So the lower your run, your load, the longer your runtime is going to be. In the book, it's just like I said on the front cover, it's just a basic operational training. I'm assuming you guys are all aware of what a UPS is. Is anyone that's not familiar with it? Okay. The first section is just a basic description of the unit. It just tells you it's a double conversion online UPS. So you basically got 3 modes with that. You have the online mode, which your loads are isolated from utility. You have your bypass mode, which is when you transfer the unit to utility power or a generator. Now one of the things, if you're going to be doing a PM on the UPS or having Eaton come in and do a bit of maintenance on it, depending on how you guys feel about it, you may want to start, you have a generator backup, right? You can start the generator, bring it up online before transferring this to utility power. That way, if there are any bumps during that preventive maintenance time, the generator's going to be taking care of that. The UPS won't feel it. Because once you're on bypass, then you're susceptible to whatever utility is going to do. I have it listed here, components provided, the model number for the UPS, circuit cards that are in this. On this unit, right here is your serial number. You guys are going to want to have that on the back page of this book. There's a spot where you can write that in. We'll cover that later, but there's your serial number for it. There's a one-line diagram I put in here as well. If you guys are not familiar with actually how the one line is laid out on this unit, there's a bypass switch right down here, which you'll see in this one-line drawing is MBS1 and MBS2. What that does, it gives you the ability to first off, you would transfer the UPS to internal bypass, then you can throw this switch, and you can see on the one line, once you go to MBS2 position, you've wrapped around the entire UPS section, so somebody can do something in it. So the alternate to that would be to have a wall-mounted bypass up here, and totally isolate you. The next one is the location of the accessible components. You can see this is about all that's going to be accessible to you. The circuit boards, the front panel display, the input breaker, output breaker, a battery breaker, and your maintenance bypass switch. And I also have a page that shows that. So if you get bored at your desk, you can look at this and refresh yourself.
We expect to see you reading this right after you.
The next section is the front panel display. How many of you, I'm assuming this is supporting load at this point. Yeah. Okay. We're not going to go through all the transfers and all that stuff with the unit at this point. But on the front panel display, you got LEDs to tell you the status of the unit. So the top one shows a little waveform, so you're online. The next one shows you're on battery. The next one's an alarm, and the last one's an alarm. And then you have 4 buttons right here, which just get you into the display itself. So you're not going to hurt anything, you're not going to transfer any loads, you're not going to shut the machine down by hitting these buttons. It just tells you where you're going to. And you kind of scroll through all of these. There's an indicator. See, on the front panel, like right now we have the status. And you can click the up button. This takes you, as we get further into this, it tells you can turn the unit off. In order to do that, you'd have to hit the button back over here, which is basically the escape key. You have an event log, which with this one here, you can go through this. If you have something that happens to the UPS, you guys come in here, we're monitoring, you see that it's transferred for some reason. You can go through this and start reading the events. You can see what the event is, the date, and the time of the event. And that way, if you end up having to call in to tech support to talk to somebody, or if you're talking to the field engineer on the phone, and you can tell them exactly what you're seeing, so they can kind of be prepared for what they may find when they come out here. In this page here on the control buttons and menus, you'll find all the things that you can get to in this unit. You've got the status, you have the event log, you can go into your measurements, look at those, you can see where your loading is at on the unit. You can control it, telling it to go to and from bypass. You have settings in there, and an identification on the unit, telling you the same stuff that you have on this nameplate right here. The next section is operations on the unit. Again, these are details that are in the formal manual that Randy has. Pull them out just so you just have the bare bones basics there. Because for the most part, if you have to do something with it, you may want to start it or transfer it to bypass. So, on this, just one of the things for the normal startup on this unit, we've already removed the front panel on it. It's verifying the position of the rotary switch. Right down here, there's a UPS, a service, and a bypass. So if you're starting this thing up from scratch, you're going to want to make sure it's in the UPS mode, right there. Let's see. This is that's fed from the UPS. Where's the UPS fed?
UPS is fed off the ground. You look at your left.
Okay, in another room? Okay. You guys know where that breaker is? That feeds this UPS? Maybe, you guys are going to be in the generator room, right?
Yeah.
So maybe when you guys are over there, you can show them where that breaker is.
We do that.
So that way you know where the feed is for this. Obviously this is the output right here from the system. And again, once we make sure that breaker is on over there, this switch down here is in the UPS. The breaker on the far left is the input breaker. Got to make sure that one's turned on. Then you just wait for the front panel to come up. Let's see. It shows the indicator right here. That's going to be flashing once we get to that point. And then we turn the battery breaker on down here. Then you press any button on this screen, and then you hit the up button, UPS status, and then we have the button for turning the UPS on and off. And from there you can turn the unit on, and it'll ramp right up to the point where you see this right here with the green lights on. The other modes, like transferring to and from bypass, is definitely one that you may need to have at some point. If you guys are doing some maintenance around here, you want to start shutting things down, you want to know how to get to bypass, and then to get back from that. And then also there's a page for shutting down the UPS completely. Now, two things to note and always to remember is that again, when you shut the UPS down completely, you can be over this bypass mode to wrap around the unit because it's a hard path around it. Then the rest of it can be completely shut down and taken control. And that's where when field engineers are in here trying to do PMs or service on the unit, they're going to go down to that point. The service side, the middle one, that service gives the ability to wrap around the UPS but allow power to still be in this thing. So they can do whatever they want to in it. It's not going to affect your loads. You're on that path for MDS2 in there.
So switching to service, then to bypass, you won't lose your load.
That's correct. It's all a make before break design. There was a time when UPS, you had transformers upstream or downstream, and you had phase shifts, and you'd have to have all sorts of phase shift transformers to avoid that kind of thing. And you have to have an open or a break before make transfer. You don't have to. Haven't had it for a lot of years. The next section is on alarms and conditions. There's some of these things in here that, more than likely, these are the most common things you would see if you're going to see something. You know, alarms such as being on battery or batteries low. It tells you what the possible cause of that is, as well as an action to take for it. And obviously, with any UPS, that's not a comprehensive list. However, it's the ones that you're going to see most often. And again, if you find that there's something else you want to talk to somebody at tech support, go back to section 5. I have the main number on here, 800-843-9433. And then once you get to that, then you have to select options. And I put all the options down so you don't have to sit there and listen to them the whole time. So the ones most likely, any of these you'd be using, but if you had questions in particular about the unit, you can call tech support, and I can give you guys my card, you give me a phone call as well.
What kind of warranty was this?
I'd have to check. I thought about that on the way down this morning. So if you got a card, you can give it to me. Yeah. And then I can get back and send you an email on it as well, let you know what it was. The other thing too, you can always call in this 800 number and select just, other services or preventive maintenance scheduling, either of those, and say, here's my serial number, what's my warranty on it? And they'll be able to pull that stuff up as well. But I'll get that stuff back to you later today. That's the end of it. Without taking the unit totally apart and whatnot, there's not a lot that you can do. You know it's working, you know you're supporting load, you don't have any hiccups, you know how to transfer it to bypass and whatnot, but if you have any questions at all, you can always call that tech support number and get some assistance on that.
Are there any filters that need to be cleaned or anything? Filters or anything that need to be cleaned?
No, here's the front door. There might have been a filter in here.
No, there was never a filter.
No. I'll have to check and see if they have a filter in those because I don't remember. So, any questions beyond that?
You know what that white power cord is, this line here is?
I don't know. This has been built in and dropped into here. So that may be coming for up to here. So that
Okay. They were supposed to give it to people and find out where you wanted to terminate it.
okay.
So Johnson could put it down on the road line and
Yeah, because at that point, this card, he has all the information on this card where you'll be able to assign this an IP address.
Okay.
And it's got a web browser in it where you'll be able to come right down to it.
Like sign up.
Yeah. And then this right here, this is an environmental monitoring program. So what it does, it monitors temperature and humidity in this room. That information there is is relayed back into this card, and then when you're able to get online with this thing, you'll be able to see what the temperature and humidity is in this room. Yeah. And you also have on this, right down here, some dry contacts. So if you had, water or something in this room, you could probably put a leakage sensor tied into this as well. Anything else?
This breaker right here is the one that controls your UPS. And you've got your payload schedule here and everything on it, okay?
So some of those over there, just the ones outside of the space, are on breaker 7.
Yeah, some of them. Some of the LT rooms, some of the outlets are on that UPS system, some of them aren't. They come off this emergency generator.
Oh, okay. All right, so is everything in there fed off the emergency generator and the UPS is itself?
Yeah.
And I can tell by looking at the lines or whatever.
Right. You'll be able to tell because we have them all labeled. Okay. If you ever have any serious problems, you need to shut that down.
That's really good. This is good. This is right.
What room are we in?
This is the emergency electrical room.